Hi guys, Chris here, how are you doing? This here arrived today and it is the Cube i10 Ultimate, which is Cube's latest Atom tablet. It's powered by an Atom X5 Z8300. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM and also comes with a keyboard dock, so let's check it out. So here is the typical Banggood box that they use. They use a polystyrene box and repackage it. Now you can ask for the original box, but I didn't bother because I just know that this way at least it's not really going to get damaged because it is quite thick. So I'll just cut it open so you don't have to see me doing that. We have an instruction leaflet here, I think. I know, VIP cards, warranty card, user manual. So they have thrown in a European power supply for me. And that'll be 5 volts, 2 amps. The typical we see on all of these Chinese tablets. And other accessories included. We have a, oh that's actually not what we want, is it? That's, okay, that's an OTG adapter, but that's only going from USB 2 to normal USB, but we need a micro USB 3. Interesting. And a USB cable there for charging the tablet. Okay, so let's get all of this out of the way and focus on the tablet. Alright, so here we go. We can see it looks quite similar to the Hi-10 from Chewy. We do have a similar docking port connector there at the bottom, so the 5 pogo pin port there, a couple of slots there either side. Now this is made out of that typical matte kind of darkish bluish purple color that Cube like to use on all of their tablets, and it does have quite a nice finish to it. You can see the back there. There's our 5 megapixel rear facing camera, and on the left hand side here we have our micro USB 3. Unfortunately that's not a full-sized one. USB 2 port there for charging and data as well. Micro HDMI and the 3.5mm headphone jack. And right here we do have micro SD card support. So along the top here we have the power on button, volume up and down, and this is actually plastic along here to help obviously with the reception for the wireless. So overall the build looks quite good. Just notice that both of the speakers are on the right hand side, so similar to what they did with the i7 Stylus, which isn't good for stereo separation, so I will have to test that out and see how that is. So back to the front again, we do have a 2 megapixel front facing camera and a Windows home button here. The bezels aren't too bad, and there's a few specs just outlined here. So we have the 4 gigabytes of RAM, it has the Cherry Trail X5 Z8300, and you can see there is a little pen logo here, which indicates that it should support styluses. What type of stylus, I do not know. I've actually got a couple with me here that I will try and see if they work on it or not. So it's 618 grams. And the thickness, if I can find the thickest part, there doesn't really seem to be a thickest part on it. So I'm just going to check right here. It comes in at 8.9 millimeters thick, so it's not actually too bad. I think that could actually be thinner than the Chewy Hi-10, which I happen to have right here with me. So I'll just put them both side by side. This is the Hi-10, or that's more plastic build. It has plastic on the back there. Very prone to fingerprints, and I'll have a look at the thickness of the Chewy is 10.64, the Chewy. So the Chewy's definitely slightly thicker there. Now before I power it on, I'll just check out the keyboard dock that I bought as well, that you have to buy separately, it's not actually included. Now I used the free mail server, so it came via post for me here in Spain, and I didn't have to pay any taxes on it, which is one of the reasons why I did it. Now I've declared the value of this one here is 1877 is the value, And the tablet, I think, was 65, they declared it at. So the box just marks out a couple of specs here that you can use it as a stand tablet and tent mode, multi-touch, full-sized USBs there, 120-degree angle. Just a little bit more information there on it. Magnetic absorption. Don't know what that means. Alright, so there's the keyboard. It's actually very nice looking compared to other ones I've seen. And it is made out of metal. We do have left and right mouse buttons, which is good to see, and a very nice little metal finish trim around the touchpad. Just along here, there are a couple of status LEDs you can see just here. So we've got caps lock and disable the touchpad, and there are rubber feet, one right here in the middle, to either side, sorry, and at the front there, which is good to see them put the actual rubber little pads there to keep the screens away from the keyboard. It's a good idea so it doesn't get all scratched up. And you can see the 5 pogo pins there. And I need to shift this back, of course, before I can dock it. And we do have a USB 2 port on the side. And it's relatively thin. I will measure it in just a second. And another USB 2 port. So if you want the full size USB ports, you're going to have to use the ones on the dock. And there's the docking mechanism. It does have some plastic feet there either side, so when you prop it up it's going to give you a better typing angle. Now it has that same color on it, but it's actually a soft touch rubberized paint they have used on the back of it. It feels very nice and it actually looks quite nice too. The build quality is top notch. This is very nice. Definitely a step up from the likes of the HI10 dock. And we do have 4 rubber feet there. So I'll quickly dock the tablet in there and also power it up to see how this docks in. I can actually feel the magnets and they're pulling it towards it. So no, there's no click or anything. Okay, there is no latch mechanism. Now they do have this gap right there so you can still touch the Windows button. It's a good idea because a lot of other tablets you wouldn't have access to the Windows button there. So it simply just docks in like that and quite easy to remove. Actually, it's quite nice, and the tent mode should work. Not tent mode, sorry, the presentation mode. Flip it around like this and then I can angle it around just like that. So although it's not clipped in correctly, there we go, that's better. It's only magnets in there holding it together, but overall, I mean, I can lift it up like that. So not too bad there. I'll just check out the thickness of the keyboard and then docked. So where's the thickest part? I think it's going to be around the USB 2 port here. Let's check that out. So that is, I don't know if you can see that, 9.75 millimeters. And when I dock it, that will come out to be about 20 something, wouldn't it? Okay, 19.53. So not too bad there. Now here is the Chewy HI10 keyboard. It's actually a plastic keyboard, all 100% plastic, and the keys have a reasonable amount of travel on them. It's not a bad keyboard to use. It does have, again, another matte rubberized paint job on it, which I don't know how that's going to wear on the top here. Eventually that's probably going to get a little bit shiny and scratch up a little bit, I would imagine. And if I open up the cube and just have a look at them there. So the cube, this is metal on the top. So it's a lot nicer. I think long term it's going to last a little longer. And typing on it, if I type on the both of them here, I think the cube has larger keys, slightly larger keys, and it does feel actually a little bit nicer to type on there. And the docking mechanism of both of them is slightly different. The Chewy docking mechanism does have the release latch. It's a little harder to dock. So if I dock the HI10 here, there's a bit of a thud there, and now it is docked, but it is secure because it actually latches and locks in place. It does move a little bit like that. And have a look at the thickness of the Chewy HI10 compared to that. So let's put them both together. So 22.5, slightly thicker. But overall, I can tell you now that the cube build quality is definitely far superior, and it looks thinner. Okay, so hopefully there's some battery in here, and I'll power it on. I'm gonna have a look at that screen. So it's a 1980 by 1200 panel, and that is a 16 by 10 ratio screen, 10.1 inches. So there's already a user setup coming up saying welcome. And we'll have a look and see if Windows is activated. I'm probably going to have to connect up to the internet. It's already activated Windows there, but you can see they've just specs there. So 4 gigabytes of RAM installed memory, and they don't seem to have allocated much to the actual GPU there. Otherwise it would probably say 3.9 or something. And have a look at the device manager. So we have a Samsung eMMC on there. Sorry, it's probably a little bit hard to actually see that. If I can get the screen a bit closer here. So we have a Samsung eMMC. And our wireless chipset will be single band Realtek. Okay, the very common Realtek that I see literally on all of these tablets. And the free available space, 44.7. Sorry, I didn't actually see there myself whether that was Windows. 64-bit, okay. So that's not bad there. So I'll just test out now the styluses I have and see if they work. Alright, so I'll test out some styluses now. This is my Wacom stylus. Nothing happens. It's definitely not using Wacom Tech. And now I will test out a Dell. Sorry, this is the Tech Class Active Stylus. Nothing seems to happen here at all. So that one doesn't work. And now here is my Dell Active Stylus from my Venue 11 Pro that I used to own. And it doesn't. Well, there we go. Maybe it does work. So it seems to be using the Dell Tech, although I think my particular stylus here might have a flat battery or not actually working particularly well, but it looks to be using that same stylus tech, which would mean it does actually support pressure sensitivity, but okay, it's not going to work again for me. My stylus, I think, has seen definitely better days. No. Okay. Now the screen brightness at the moment is on 100%, but I did actually see in the device manager there that there is an ambient light sensor. So I'm going to have to go into power options and disable that. If I can get power options and find out under changing the plan settings, it should be here to just disable that. Where are we? Display. Okay. Adaptive brightness. So apparently it is off, And under the device manager, there is adaptive brightness there. So full brightness at the moment doesn't seem particularly bright so far. That is just one of the downsides to the tablet that I have actually encountered. That's 50%, 75, 100. I do have a lot of lights on here at the moment, but it's not as bright as I would hope it to be. But I will investigate that further to see if I can actually get that to come out any brighter. Could be because Intel power saving options are on, so I'll just have a quick look at that. Sometimes you find, okay, it does actually have that display power saving technology on. So disable this should bring back some brightness. Okay, the brightness has actually increased a little bit there and it does look better. Keep in mind I've got screen protector on it too, so I will actually be taking that off later on there. So the initial impression so far, the build quality is really good. I'm quite impressed actually with that keyboard. The keyboard looks really good. It reminds me of maybe a keyboard from another brand like Acer or something. The build quality is really good and definitely superior from what I've seen so far in terms of build over the Chewy HI10. So I'll be back with some benchmarks. I'll check out the eMMC speeds, run through Geekbench 3, 3D Mark, and most importantly there, keep an eye on the thermals, see how hot it gets, whether it's going to throttle or not. So if you're interested in this model, do keep an eye out on that, and hopefully see you in the next video. Bye for now.